Hey y'all, and welcome to Stivers Homestead. I'm Zach, and this is a barn chat. So barn chats are where we have one-on-one conversations where we're talking about stuff that's either going on in the world, thing that's going on for personal growth, thing that's going on in homesteading events, different things. It can vary a wild variety of topics. However, these only come about when something's really kind of moving me and something that I really am passionate about and I really want to talk to you all about. So as you all know, Father's Day is coming up right around the corner. It's this Sunday that's coming. If you're catching this afterwards, that's fine too. But I did this video a few days before Father's Day came. And that's a topic that has been a whirlwind for me. We're going to get into some details. But really, ultimately, what I want from this video is honestly a challenge to all husbands, all fathers, mothers and wives as well, because this is not just for one gender, but it is the experience that I've went through and things that I am changing in my life and doing in my life that have been good. And I want to see everyone challenged to do better and do more. So let's quit beating around the bush. Let's get into this. For this one, you're gonna go on a timeline storytelling with myself, but we'll keep that part a little bit brief because we definitely want to get into the good parts of this video. But in 2019, I lost my stepfather at the age of 51. It was very abrupt. We had no idea that this was coming, and he was very close to me. He was in my life ever since I was 3 years old. I lived with my mom and him my whole life. So him and I were very, very close. That tragedy shook us all up. It's the reason that we're even on this property, because after he passed, we were all living on the same property. And we all decided to sell. Mom sold the house, and then that entailed sold our old house too, because we were built ours on their property, and that got us here. And dealing with all those changes, dealing with the loss of him, last year my blood father actually passed away abruptly in his 50s. So I've lost two fathers in their 50s. We were extremely close to both of them. And it was really like losing two best friends. So if you've been around for a while on this channel, you physically have watched the struggles that we have had over the past 5 years. You've seen it within our channel. You've seen it within our moods. And then you have seen us come out of that too. So you've really got to see us go through the entire grieving process of dealing with that. In the midst of that, I also lost my grandmother, who she actually passed away peacefully at our house. That one was a little bit more expected. She was on hospice, but still in the middle of that, having the loss of a beloved family member. We called her Nanny, not because she was a nanny. Her name was Nancy, and it just kind of stuck. So instead of Granny, it was Nanny. I had said that before, and everybody's like, "You had a nanny?" No, I had a grandmother that we called Nanny. But we also lost her in between those two, and so that was just a lot of death, a lot of trauma. And I am happy to say that we are on the other side of it now. But I'm telling you right now, my eyes are seeing so much clearer than they ever have. I mean, and when I talk about I have awakened, I have woken, however you want to say it, it is unbelievable how I sit today than how I sat even 6 months ago. Now, you may be thinking, oh, that's because you got rid of the trauma, you've moved on, you've done this stuff, you're able to see clear again. No, it's that what we're going to get into here in just a couple of minutes is some really heavy stuff that I really want you all to really to take in, and I really want you to start applying this to your own life. So when I'm talking to you, I want you to reflect. I want you to reflect on your own being and see if this is something that maybe you can start doing more of yourself. So everybody deals with trauma differently. We all it all looks similar, but we all deal with it differently. And for us, it was a lot of, honestly, hate and anger. Like, I was just angry all the time. I was wondering why I wouldn't wake up happy like I used to. Like, I used to wake up just smiling. Like, at the beginning of our channel, and my whole life is like, man, all y'all do is smile. All y'all do is smile. What's the secret? What's the secret? And I think it's just because I haven't really felt hard times. Like, I hadn't really been in hard times. Had a great childhood. Not really had many deaths of like hardly any family members. There was obviously some, but more expected ones. Just never had any kind of abrupt challenges. And, I was very privileged in that way and very grateful that I had the time that I had. But that strictly was like, you don't have anything to be mad about. If money gets low, we can figure out how to make more money. The normal stuff just didn't bother me like it did until after we had some of these tragedies. So through that process, the channel, like I said, it was struggling. We didn't want to shoot videos. When we did, they felt forced. We were just trying to get by. But then something happened. Something happened for the better that really made life clear. I went through therapy. Yeah, no big secret. There's no big shock that's there. I decided to seek outside help. I was starting to get to the point where I was putting way too much on my family. I was expressing stuff to my wife that was putting her in a bad place too, because if that's all I'm giving out, that's all she's receiving in. So step number one that I want you all to think about, if you are spending more of your time speaking to your loved one, spouse, family member, kids, about your trauma, if you're speaking more about that stuff than good, you got to remember they are receiving that. That is starting to impact them as well, because all they're getting is that negative information. And the biggest thing we all know, misery loves company. So if you're miserable, you're bringing other people down and making them miserable too. And that's not fair to them. So the first step, therapy, like I said, that was extremely helpful. I did a video about it. They even were kind of a sponsor of that video. They're not of this one, FYI. But it's betterhelp.com. Love it. I tell everybody that's going through stuff, if I can feel like they're just down and out, and they've been down and out in a while, betterhelp.com. It's fantastic. I will always recommend it. You get to pick your therapist through some questionnaires. You get to pick out how you want them to be. You can do video chats, phone chats, texting, group stuff, all on your phone, laptop, or tablet. So that's your first step. If you are giving out more negative than positive to the people you love, it might be time to seek help. Outside of even that, it is always, I think what I'm going to do is about probably maybe twice a year, get back on it. Do a few sessions just to make sure that I'm checking in, making sure my overall health feels good, and just kind of keeping that as like our oil change, right? So just keeping it maintained, keeping it fresh, making sure that we're good and nothing else is slipping in on us, because that's the very tricky part about being miserable, is it sneaks up on you and you don't realize it until you're like, okay, this is bad. After therapy, through some help and guidance, I started realizing what we needed to cut out of our life, things that needed to change to be happy, and what we really needed to do. So we started following some of those steps. We followed through with a lot of things, and that really helped me see things a lot differently. It really helped me be happy again, and like have moments where I could wake up and it didn't have to look forward to a vacation or a getaway to be happy. I was happy with where I was planted. And when you finally fully get happy where you're planted, that changes a lot. That really allows you to take in every moment. It allows you to go do whatever you're doing at your house, whether it be homesteading or if you're just not doing this, you're doing something else, but just to appreciate what you have. And, we always talk about the old line of like the grass isn't always greener, or buying stuff and all these different things, like having items or moving or changing scenery always seems to give us a refresh, but that never lasts. I noticed throughout my life that about a 5-year span, I would give it, like if in a 5-year span, if I don't change after we're getting close to that 5-year mark, then I'm starting to get more miserable. It's like I needed a fresh look every 5 years. But all you're doing is chasing something. You're chasing happiness instead of finding happiness right at your front door. So when you're wanting, that's not about greed. That's not about items. That's not about anything like that. It's not what we all think it is. It's truly chasing happiness. And that's what we're always trying to do, because we just decide that we're not happy here. It's the thing, it's the place, it's the stuff that's making us unhappy. So let's go do something new. Let's go move somewhere else. Let's see if that makes me happy, because maybe this was what I thought, but that's what I actually need. And that's never it. That's us running from our problems. That's us chasing for happiness. That's us not fixing ourselves. Once we can fix ourselves, because we all have some form of trauma. Don't ever let anybody say, if you're sitting there and you're like, well, my parents weren't murdered when I was a kid, or I didn't have physical harassment. I didn't have these extreme traumas that we see on the news, or we know that some friends or family members have. That doesn't lesser your trauma. Because remember, here's the thing. We're not trying to compete and talk to each other about the stuff that we went through. We're trying to fix ourselves. So if you feel like it's something, whatever it is, even if it might be the smallest thing, like I said, y'all, I was a privileged little kid. I don't have much to complain about, but I was still waking up unhappy. And I knew it wasn't my wife. I knew it wasn't my kids. I knew it was me. It was something in me that needed to be fixed. Once you figure that out and you get a little help and you're able to see, then you start you're becoming happy where you're planted. We're no longer chasing. We're no longer running away. We're no longer putting it under the pillow or under the carpet. We're dealing with this head on. So once I got through the therapy, I did like 5 or 6 sessions. And for me, between the therapist and I, we decided that was enough. It's another thing with the site. Now, I only had one therapist. I haven't had a bunch of them. But Jen has done it as well. And her therapist kind of seemed the same way. That once you feel like you're good, they're going to wish you a happy life. They're not going to sit there and try to get money out of you and get you to keep paying for this. They just want you to feel healed. And when that day comes, they'll wish you well and tell you if you ever need them, they'll be back. So I did about 5 or 6 sessions. And then we started implementing things that I was learning from those sessions. And I felt good. It doesn't take that long. Now, some may take longer than others. And that's the levels of what we're dealing with, right? So once I was able to handle that and I was able to find my happiness again, the part that made me open my eyes and really shake me was the future, because I really was starting to see the future pretty bright and clear. And what I mean by that was I was looking at myself. And so I was looking at different things that I was doing to myself, whether it come vices, whether it come overeating, whether it come not working out anymore, whether it come not caring so much about the homestead anymore and taking care of it. I was seeing the path that I was going. So it's like, okay, I understand why I was doing that, because I was mad at myself. I was angry. I didn't feel like doing anything. So now what steps do I need to take to be better? And not just better. I want to live longer than my 2 dads did. I don't want to die in my 50s. And I actually thought about it just the other day. I'll be 36 in July. My stepdad passed when he was 51. Y'all, that's 15 years away from me. In 15 years, I will be at the age that my stepfather passed away. When he passed, I saw him as, an older adult. And I wasn't there yet, right? Like, I wasn't thinking that I was there yet. Because it's been several years now. Like I said, it was 2019 when he passed away. But just saying 2019 being a long time ago is weird. But I really had this realization. I was like, in 15 years, I will be at the age that he passed. And then I started thinking about my kids. I was like, in 15 years, I'm looking at like a 27 and 25-year-old with Wyatt and Raylan. That is too young for them to lose a child. It's right around the same age that I lost Gary. I want to be here much longer than my kids in their 20s. So I started challenging myself. Now we have everybody has a lot of vices. So this next step, you got to take in baby steps. Because if you try to change it all at once, you're going to probably fail, and then you're going to want to give up. Because you got to remember, even though our mind might be better, our body has gotten into a routine, right? We have gotten into routines that we now need to break. And breaking a routine of habits is extremely difficult to do. It takes at least 2 weeks of the new routine to get back, or to make that the new routine. I said routine way too many times there. And so it is very difficult to take that first step and start doing it. So the first step was this homestead. I've got to get back control. Y'all know we didn't garden last year. Needed that for my mental health and just because I didn't want to. I try to say it was for mental health, but I think it was because I just didn't want to. So the first step was the garden. Okay, let's go in here and start working on this garden. Y'all seen the videos of earlier this year where we started pulling out the weeds. And that started making me feel a little bit better because I know I'm doing something for this place. I am starting to love it again, and I'm starting to take care of it, because when you love something, you want to take care of it. You don't want to neglect it like I felt like I was doing. Then once I started tackling projects that were tough to start, gosh, y'all, they were so tough to start. I did not want to. But the moment I started and the moment I started seeing progress, that started making me feel so good inside. The next step was my physical health. I need to focus on my physical health. When it came to physical health, I was like, I have got to get back into working out more. I need to be a leader and show that as an example to my children. I need to involve them in this as well, because they're at the age where they should be getting a lot of exercise too. And I ultimately am doing this because I want to live longer. So started implementing some weights, some walking, some running. The kids and I have been doing that almost every single day, and Jen as well. And we are working on our physical health. And it's been so nice because everybody wants to do it too. So like the whole family has jumped in and is like, yeah, we can all do better. We've all been taking it a little too easy, and let's start jumping into this and doing this more. So then there, bam, second thing that is now filling me up with good stuff. Taking care of the property. I'm starting to take care of myself more. I'm filling my bucket back up a little. The third thing, and honestly the most important thing out of this list, it's not third as last, it's third as first in this situation, was my relationships with my wife and my children. Now, Jen and I have always focused on very hard to make sure that we keep a good relationship. We're spending time together. We're having alone time together without distractions, phones, TVs, etc. We talk. So we have porch time where we force ourselves to be face to face with nothing, no distractions, and have conversations. So when it came to her, the main thing I needed to fix was not giving her my trauma. So that was the first thing that I really wanted to do with her, was start talking more about positive stuff. Let's talk about us. Let's talk about our next thing. Let's talk about the farm. Let's talk about things that fill our buckets up instead of poking holes in them, which is what trauma does. When you start talking to your spouse about trauma, you're basically just putting knives in their bucket because they're just taking it from me. They are taking everything that I have, and they're giving it to themselves. And so I wanted to fill her buckets instead of drain her. So we have continued to do that and do better. The second piece of that was with my kids. When you are negative, you don't really want to do much. You're not playing a whole lot. You don't have that giddy attitude. So I wasn't giving them the dad that they deserve. And let's remember, partially why I was in this place was because I lost my two best friends and my dads, right? So talk about it, like really just hurting myself, my soul, when I was going through this was, I am upset because I lost my fathers, but now it feels like the kids are losing theirs because they're losing that happy dad that liked to do stuff with them. And that just put me in a darker hole. But now that I'm able to see that differently and see that I now am fixed and now I'm able to provide and be for them, I'm able to change. So now we're having game nights. Like I said, we're working out together. We do chores together very often. So we mix work and play all the time now. And I love that I'm spending more time with them, that I'm around them more. And it's crazy to even say that because I don't leave for my work, right? We do everything here. And just being not as present as I should be as a father is something that I will always regret. But I'm so glad that it was a short period of time and they gave me the grace to take that time. And then now we're able to move forward. And I love my children. They're the best kids that honestly anyone could ever ask for. I have the best wife that anyone could ever ask for. They've done nothing but show me grace through this time. And so that's another challenge to you. Are we being present enough? We can always say we do more. But there is a level of keeping the buckets average, right? Not filling too much up where it's all children, no spouse, or vice versa. There is a nice, even, healthy balance that we're doing there, along with your own. So, it's always your family first, your immediate family, in my opinion. If that core group isn't perfect, nothing else comes in. Like, absolutely nothing else. We are not involving any other buckets until I know that we are good here. Once that's the case, then yeah, we might be able to do other things for family members. We might be able to go help you out and do this and that. But I want to make sure we're good. I am never going to do more for others than I'm going to do for my immediate family. So after relationships, physical activity, starting to do stuff on this property, Jen and I were literally talking about how we used to chase the window that people had the world come to. Now we truly feel like the world comes to us, to our window, to our porch. And that is a great feeling once we have recovered those three. And now it's allowing us to think even further ahead or think even more presently. So we all know that Jen is huge in medicinal herbs. By the way, Father's Day sale is still live right now. It's 20% off for all the medicinal herbs if you want to get on that. It's thestivershomestead.com. So we're already doing more naturally when it comes to the medicine. And this is something that we've always been doing. We never want to get on prescription meds. We want to try to take care of everything naturally forever, like never get on a pill. And then we started looking more into our food, right? So when we homestead, this has always been a thing that we really need to pay attention to our food, and we've been doing that. However, we're doing it even more now because we want to make sure, again, we're staying healthy, but also when you start thinking about what you're feeding your kids, that's when it really hits you. And this one, I think I do specifically want to look at fathers a little bit harder on this category because I think it's something that we brush under the rug a little bit more than the women in our lives. So I'm challenging everyone, you men a little bit harder, to start really looking at the ingredients on the stuff that you're buying. It's not so much just about looking at organic or looking at anything like that. Let's really look at what we're putting into our children's bodies. So I know a lot of us have busy lives. We're sending these kids off to school. We're sending them this and there. We want to make sure they're fed. So we're grabbing a lot of the box stuff in the middle aisles. Now, this is going to be the biggest challenge. Let's try to stay away from anything in a box. If it's in a box, we can probably make it. And if it's in a box, it's got so many negative things into it that we're literally killing each other. We're killing ourselves with that stuff that's in there. We know this. This isn't new information. But the challenge truly is to try to stay away from middle aisles at a grocery store. Hit the code. That's fine. Still look at that stuff because it's pumped full. But let's just check it out. Let's just try to do better when it comes to what we're purchasing and what we're sending our kids on the go. The biggest adjustment we made is we still do Thrive. And we really like Thrive. Now, you got to watch some stuff on there. But overall, 99.9% of it is fantastic. We're getting those snacks that we call them from Thrive, which allows us to stay away from the middle grocery store or the middle aisles in the grocery store. And so we try to source any meat that we need locally from farmers, butchers, and different stuff like that. So we're really just keeping the grocery store to a minimum. Now, that's a lot of stuff, right? That's a lot of steps. Let me tell you how it's more realistic now. So when we're talking in reality, I'm not telling you 100% of all this stuff needs to be done 100% that way every single time. You gotta give yourself grace. It's just like when you're trying to diet. It's not about cutting everything out and changing your entire life and everything that you ate, right? It's about, first off, portion size and balance. Everything's about a balance. This all rolls back to the beginning thing that I said. Everything in life, and this is what I'm talking about. I'm just so awake of it. Everything in life, we just need to be doing more good than bad. That doesn't mean we're not going to do bad. We just need to be doing more good. And doesn't that sound so simple? Like it is truly so simple. Every single category that you do in your life, while you're sitting there right now, you can think about it. Am I doing more good or am I doing more bad? For example, YouTube, right? Are you watching too much YouTube and less of something else? Or are you watching a fair amount, but you're doing more of the good stuff, right? There's nothing wrong with watching YouTube. There is something wrong if we're watching YouTube all day. That's the good versus bad. Let's make sure that we're doing more good, but we are still treating ourselves. And ultimately in life, that's like the answer. That is just the answer to life. Be more on the side of good than on the side of bad. And if we can keep that balance that way, what's going to stop us? What's going to stop you? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because you're getting your treats, whatever that is, whatever vices that you have, you're getting them. You're just doing them less than all the good stuff. And I've had this conversation with a lot of people, and I'm very passionate about it, so maybe sometimes that's why they kind of tighten up, but I challenge you, tell me anything different. If I told you what's the secret to life, tell me it's not that. That's it. That is it. That is the secret to life. Doing more good of a category than bad. And take that into food. Am I eating more healthy options than bad options? Or is it the other way around? Take that with work. Am I working too much? Or am I working the right amount so my family can get time and I'm having fun? Or the other way, am I doing too much fun and not enough work? That was a lot of me the last several years. I wanted to just do fun because I was chasing happiness, and then my work started slacking off. YouTube. I want everyone to find their happiness. Because when we ourselves find our own happiness and we deal with our own issues to allow ourselves to be happy, life is so much better. It's just, and I don't care what age you are, it's never too late, it's never too early, it's never too anything to fix and work on yourself. And to remind yourself that you have to continuously work on yourself. So I know I've been rambling a while. I hope this came across well. I hope you enjoyed this. I just want everyone to sit back after this video and contemplate every category in your life and see if you're doing more good or more bad. And what's the balance? And what steps can we do to change that if need be? You know it's there. You don't sit back and be like, well, everything's fine. Something's not. If you're not continuously checking on all your categories of life or buckets, whatever metaphor you want to use, if you're not continuously checking on all those, remember, you are one of those, you're not fine. You got to continue to work on it every week. Yeah, I think that's good. And every week, check up in your own head, in your own mind. How was last week? Let's run through my categories. Write them down if you have to. Write what you're doing if that's the way you do these things. Do a weekly recap of what you did that past week, and then anything that needs to be changed, let's change it for the next week. Let's not wait a month. Let's not wait once a year. Let's not wait 5 years like I did. Let's do a weekly recap. I'll try to remind you. Let me know down in the comments if this is something that you would like to continue to check on, because I love talking about it myself. And now I feel like I am in a space that I can talk to others about it without giving you my trauma and hopefully filling your buckets a little more. Because that's you all are a category of my life too. I'm starting to feel like I'm doing more good than the past several years where I was doing too much bad. And I apologize to you all about that too. I am very sorry. I hope we are changing. I hope you can see the light. I hope you can see the smiles again, and I hope you see the happiness coming through your screen once more. And if anything, I hope it fulfills your buckets just a little bit to make you feel better after you end one of our videos, to smile, to be motivated, to do anything good. Y'all, if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button. We love you. Until the next one.